And we are underway. This the Prince of Wales Challenge Cup on the left-hand side of your picture. Henley Rowing Club and the University of London Composite. And they are going up against DSR Copenhagen from Denmark. And shots of the composite crew there, and all of these athletes fresh from racing in their junior years, actually, Adrian, and now coming together in this intermediate events. Let's see if they can make that effective step up.
Yeah, the Copenhagen crew did a great job getting onto that second stroke very quickly and generated some boat speed. UL here and Henley Rowing Club a little bit shorter, and as a consequence that the Danish crews moved out quite quickly to almost a length. Really good sculling technique from the Danish crews. If you look at the guys, some pretty strong-looking athletes in that crew. But now it's just sticking. They're finding the rhythm. They're not moving away anymore. Let's see what Henley. There's a warning from the umpire there. This is the moment again. You need to break it. If you're ahead, just try to move away and get another 6 feet. But the composite crew from Henley and London need to stay in touch.
And they just, if you compare them side by side here, just a little bit more punchy from the crew from Copenhagen here on the right-hand side. They just look a little bit more upright, which I feel always in the quads is quite important.
It is quite important. I mean, it's a bit easier because they're also bigger, taller guys, so they can get the length. They're a heavier crew, almost 10 kilos a man heavier. But yeah, and here, okay, it's a bit of spray coming up, but and it's quite windy out there. Look at the conditions; it's starting to get quite bouncy. It's 38 strokes a minute here. 17.5 kilometers an hour into this big, strong wind.
Yeah, and I certainly, if I was in that crew, would be pleased to see Emil Lenzig in the stroke seat, the former junior international. He raced at the Junior World Championships in the single and also held the world record in the junior quads for a moment in time. So he's a handy person to have setting the rhythm there. Yeah,
he's done it properly a few times before, hasn't he? And you can see that in the way this crew sits. And like you said, Camilla, you can see here really clearly how upright they are at the finish. When they finish, they don't dump their weight into the bottom of the boat. They sort of sit still and just release the oars, and as a consequence, the boat stays up. But here you can see a little bit more with this crew, 35 strokes a minute, that the boat's bouncing a little bit more, and when they finish, the weight is dropping into the boat, and as a consequence, you're covering more water, and it slows the boat down.
That's a really good observation, Adrian, and I think with the bumpy water that you've got there, that we've got a really good shot of just a moment. You know, the wind has not gone away here on this course. Just adding that bit more bounce is really not very useful to your and conducive to boat speed.
And then a warning there from Sarah Winkler telling the Danish crew to move back over to their station, which they've responded to quite quickly, to be honest. About there, and look at that rhythm. You can see there, like you were saying, Camilla, earlier, just the finish. How clean it is, how compact it is, and there's really no heave at the finish. They still use their bodies very strongly, but not from the vertical backwards. It's forwards through the vertical.
And even their finish is so clean, you can hear the blades coming out of the water if you listen for that noise. Just really therapeutic almost to hear, right?
Yeah, it is, and yeah, exactly. They're moving very nicely. And one of the things you learn about sculling is that as the rate goes up, the finish becomes shorter. The really good crews, they keep their length at the front. They have a really wide hands at the front and really generate a lot of boat speed from that. They don't pull their handles past their body. You can see here how they just release in front of their body and get onto the next stroke. And their boat's moving so nicely. It must be a pleasure to row in that crew. And look what they've just done to the composite crew. They really have just moved out a long way.
Hugely experienced crew. I think you can just see the distance that they've put into this composite from Henley Rowing Club and the University of London, and the under-23 pedigree in this crew from the Danske Studenters Row Club, Copenhagen, Denmark, is really apparent as we look at that iconic scene and shot down into Henley Town Centre, the church on the horizon, something we're going to be seeing all throughout this week.
And this shows the standard of what we're looking at. Sam Beattie, the 3-man in the composite crew on the left-hand side here, has a gold medal at Champ Quads last year at Cox Regatta, and look at the difference. I mean, I've got to say that crew from Copenhagen has got to be one of the favourite crews for the regatta after this performance.
Yeah, of course, and we can't dispute the pedigree of the Henley rowing club juniors from years gone by. You know, we've got a multiple national schools winner in the 2C in James Swinburne. Of that crew on the right, you've just mentioned the British University champion in the 3-seat Sam Beattie. It's just littered with national medalists here from the UK, this crew on your screen, and they are quite frankly lengths down on this crew from Copenhagen.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good crew. They're also sculling very well. They're giving away roughly 10 kilos a man, but also just the effectiveness of the Danish crew, the way they propel the boat with their legs. It's so simple. And they really, you can see the way the boat is lively in the water. It's not rolling around. And they're just really effective with the way they scull.
And it's great, you know, it's been great to see the international interest flooding back to these events, right? It's certainly at the intermediate level, I think it gets so competitive, you know, that one step down from the elite events, right? It's
yeah, exactly.
Amazing to see.
Yeah, there's a big sort of tranche of athletes within that, people who aren't maybe good enough or are on their way to becoming good enough to becoming internationals, that have left school or left university or whatever and need to find someone to row. And it's great, I think, because of, you know, we don't want to talk about COVID anymore, but because this sort of racing has been missing, there wasn't many crews that would travel last year. Everybody's desperate to travel, and that's why the entry, you know, biggest entry before was 680, this year 730, 150 foreign crews. It's just amazing. This is like an international regatta at Henley.
Just absolutely incredible to have it back to this size of event. And we're looking at the back there of the bow seat. Nathan Antonissen, just 20 years of age, and he, unfortunately, if he was to turn now, would see that they have quite the mountain to climb in these final stages of this heat of the Prince of Wales Challenge Cup. And despite being so far ahead, they've kept the pace up, really, haven't they, this crew from Copenhagen? They've barely settled.
Yeah, I think they've probably dropped the power a little bit, but they've definitely kept the stroke rate up, which is quite a good tactic, because particularly in quads, if you drop the rate below 30 strokes a minute, you get really very heavy. So you're better off pulling less hard, but keep the movement of the boat, and just doesn't mean it gets heavy. And here, comfortable wind looks like.
Yeah, and they'll be soaking in the atmosphere here, even in the late stages of the day, on the first day of Henley Royal Regatta 2022. And they'll wait moments for this composite crew from Henley Rowing Club and the University of London, and a small look there again from Nathan Antonissen in the bow seat to see that just a few power strokes to push through towards the line to end their Henley campaign this year. I'm sure we'll see them back next year. But there is the confirmed result in that Prince of Wales Challenge Cup heat, that the Danske Studenters Row Club Copenhagen, Denmark, will beat Henley Rowing Club and the University of London.